Fusion here, back in another video. We're going to be reacting to some NBA today. The Trailblazers, Suns, and Jazz playoffs, play-in team, or out. I think that the Suns are going to be a playoff team. Same thing as like the Jazz. I think that they have enough like to push them into the playoffs. Now, as far as like the Trailblazers go, they are a question mark team in my opinion. I believe that they're either playing or not even in the playoffs again this year. I think that the Trailblazers just need some more pieces. And I honestly think it may be time for us to talk about if Damian Lillard should stick with this team or not. He's been with the Trailblazers for his whole career, and they still really haven't gotten that far. Now, I think it may be time for him to move on, or for them to push some more quote unquote big name players into their roster, like to really change what is going on with this team and like the atmosphere as well as like the chemistry of this team. So let's go ahead and see what they got to say.
Right here. The Kings, they not only have the best record through 36 games in the last 18 years, this is only the second time they've been over 500 at this point. So you may be asking me, why is this behind me? Well, because this group is sending a message.
Who cares?
I'm not.
Get to the point.
Message. You know it has to be a good one. If I'm gonna cover
This nigga's on there. Shout out to Derek Fisher.
up my nice fresh haircut, shout out Nick the Barber with his Kings hat. I really want to shout the Kings out, man. Shout out Mike Brown, what he's been able to make these guys believe. It's been 16 long years for Sacramento Kings fans since they've been in the playoffs, and this team has shown signs of hope with Sabonis playing out of his mind, leading the league in double-doubles, 14 consecutive double-doubles. De'Aaron Fox proving that he's one of the best young guards and all-around players in the game. They got a top 10 offense. I want to say, what are they? Lost some seventh and made threes. The one thing that needs to come along with this team is the defense. But outside of
I think with the defense side of it, I know quite a bit of teams that could use a like defensive presence. I think that's one of the most slept on things about what the Warriors did produce last year. With Draymond Green, Looney, excuse me, as well as Klay Thompson. So they always had a defensive presence, and I think that's one of the most slept on things about a championship team. I think every championship team has some sort of defensive presence, ways to stop the opponent, as well as they have some dogs on their team. For example, last year with the Bucks, they had Drew Holiday and Giannis, two keen like defensive players who know how to play both sides of the ball, but as well give troubles to the other team.
Out of that, I'm gonna make a prediction that this team will be in the 2023 playoffs this year, Malika.
I think when you're wearing a crown like that, it's a proclamation.
Something has to happen.
It's not just a prediction.
Something has to happen.
Nobody gives a fuck
King
about
Matt. Let's head
Hamilton.
back to the desk here because the Kings are
I'm
currently
sorry,
the
but
fifth
nobody
seed in
cares.
the West. I do need to give Mark Spears his props.
But
He
Malika
called this
looking
before the
bad,
season.
per usual.
Last year before the season, he called the Warriors winning it all. So, I mean, I need to start listening to
The Bay Area guy.
whatever,
It's the mayor.
whatever
Bay Area
Mark
guy.
says. I want to take a look, though, at the full Western Conference picture if we could. Because
looking bad,
not just at
too.
the
I forgot her
Kings, they
name,
are
but she's
going to
looking
be
bad.
heading to the playoffs this year. So I want to take a look at the rest of the West, if you will.
Western Conference playoff standing. Nuggets 1, Grizzlies 2, Pelicans 3, Mavs 4, Kings 5, Celtics 6, Trailblazers 7, Suns, 8, Warriors 9, Jazz 10, and then the rest. This is a very deep Western Conference finals. Conference standings, excuse me. In like two or three wins of each other. Now, one thing I can say is that towards the end of the year, that's when it really starts to sift through on who will be a playoff team and who will not, because that's pretty much when fatigue and like veteran leadership starts to push itself forward. Now the younger teams will start really showing more mistakes, as well as showing more of why they won't be playoff teams. Now the Warriors have been without Steph Curry as of recent, but they've still been hanging in there. So they're still in the play-ins. So this year, I think will be most of the competitive basketball that we have seen like so far. Be it like the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, Pelicans, Mavs, Kings, and Clippers. Those are very competitive, close to each other teams. 24 wins, 23, 20 23, 22, 20, and 21 wins, like respectively. That really shows how close like this race is, as well as having 20 wins with the Suns and Warriors, and 19 for both the Trailblazers and the Jazz. So they're pretty close. Everyone's pretty much in like the stand-in. Even like the Timberwolves, like they're only down 2 wins really, and you really can't count out Anthony Edwards yet. So it's a pretty close game, pretty close games, pretty close wins. So we just gotta see what's going on from here.
Take a look here, the teams that are currently in the playoffs, the play-in, and on the outside looking in. So I'm curious which one of these teams that are seeded 7th or lower, how do y'all see them finishing? So Shanae, are they playoff bound, play-in bound, play-out bound? Kick us off with the Blazers, please.
Okay, with the Trailblazers, I'm going to say that they are play-in bound just because the Suns and the Warriors are low, but they are probably going to be the most dangerous play-in team because they're the only team that has 3 players averaging 22 points or more, Dame, Simons, and Grant. So those were great acquisitions. It's not bad if they're in the play-in because everyone knows what happens when it's playoff time, and then they've got support and they're playing better. So it's like a reverse compliment because I know they're going to make noise no matter where they're at.
Matt, tell me about the Suns.
This is a playoff team, but I do feel like this is their last chance. I think with Chris Paul's age getting up there, the dysfunction between Andre Ayton and the head coach, I don't see this having a long life expectancy. So I do see them as a playoff team this year, and I think this is their last chance to really make a run.
And the
I agree. The Suns have definitely underperformed this year. I think it might be time for us to really talk about if Devin Booker is really that guy. Now, you've seen Luka show up. You've seen Jokic show up. You've seen Jason Tatum show up and win games. So we're really wondering if Devin Booker can really push a team to that playoff, to that conference finals, Western Conference Finals type of thing. And we really haven't seen that as of late, like these past few years. Now, you are correct about, Matt Barnes is correct about Chris Paul getting older, but I'm wondering if they can mold Cameron Payne to what Chris Paul was and pretty much push that offense just a little bit to become what they really should be. And DeAndre Ayton is dog shit. I'm just leaving it out of that.
Jazz, Ramona?
I think they're out of the playoffs
I agree.
altogether.
Hard agree.
Look, they were great
to a certain extent.
Early season story in this league and the way that they surprised people. But this team, they're now 19-21. They've fallen off. There are a lot of close games. They're very competitive, but they have some very good players that a lot of teams will be calling about in advance of that February 9th trade deadline. And I think that they'll listen when their phone rings.
How about the Timberwolves, Brooke?
Out the playoffs.
They're a play-around team. They play around too much with the talent that they have and not utilizing it. Seriously, they have too much going on not to be having success right now. Too much talent. When you look at Anthony Edwards along with D'Angelo Russell, I know Karl Anthony Towns been out, but you brought Rudy Gobert in to anchor that defense, and you just have too many distractions, right? You have guys coming to the podium, complaining about Zion playing football, and then we know the answer.
Corny.
We know what's wrong.
D'Angelo Rat Russell.
That we know what's going on in the locker room. Like, it's too much.
Baddie,
it's a shame.
right there.
And this is why they miss Patrick Beverly, right? That veteran locker room leadership is huge. So they're going to be out.
And I've been saying that veteran leadership is one of the most important things when it comes to a young team, to really put these young players in line. Now, I think Rudy Gobert is not as good as he should be, as everyone has been touting him to be. I think he's a great defensive player, but other than that, he's useless. He's just a big guy, And I think eventually he's gonna have to either learn how to do something as far as be an efficient lob catcher or someone who can shoot a good mid range shot. But he's going to have to learn how to play offense. Now, I think that maybe in 2 years, I think that this Timberwolves team is going to have to blow their team up. Karl Anthony Towns hasn't done anything. D'Angelo Russell hasn't done anything. Anthony Edwards hasn't done anything. Again, where Rudy Gobert hasn't done anything. I think they're going to have to reach out and try to get other players or push those players out. Because you see that they build this team around Cat and Anthony Edwards, and they still haven't showed up. And it's been two, maybe 3 years. So eventually they're going to have to blow this team up.
Around, because they're going to be out.
Wow.
Well, only time will tell who wears the crown.
Corny.
Director Kathy.
Oh, shit. That was an accident. But that's pretty much everything, y'all. I'll tell you what you guys think. Who will be in the playoffs, who will be in the play-in, and who will be out of the playoffs. Again, I think that the Warriors really don't have a problem at the moment. They're playing great even without Steph. I think that the West is very, very deep. I think that the Jazz, I think that the Jazz are a play-in team. But I don't think that the Timberwolves will be in the playoffs or even in the play-in. But tell me what you guys think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for subscribing. And I'll see you all later. Peace.